It is mid-season update time, and we got some new maps added to Cold War, including Miami Strike, which you'll be seeing gameplay on that map throughout. I got a 54-8 gameplay for you using the new and improved Krig 6 and the KSP-45, because yes, this update did include a good amount of weapon tuning that we'll be casually talking about throughout this video. They murdered our boy the AK-74u. I have some before and after to share with you with that. It's not looking good. But I want to lead this video off with Miami Strike because this is surprisingly a pretty good map. Before this map was added, I never realized how big the original Miami was. OG Miami didn't play like that large of a map. In my opinion, I always thought like Cartel was bigger, but I don't know, maybe that was just me. One thing I definitely know though is this map is in daytime, which helps a lot with the visibility. One of the big complaints about the launch Miami was that you couldn't see too much because it was nighttime and there wasn't too much lighting going on with it. But essentially what they did with this map was they took that north corner surrounding the garage area of the original Miami and cut that down into a strike map. Structurally, it's the exact same, except they added an alley behind the garage to fill in those lanes and give the map symmetry. And there's also little changes to the map all over the place. In the middle, they added some construction zone that breaks up that middle alley so you don't have a clear line of sight. There's more objects in the street, which is towards the middle of the original Miami map. They got like a ladder in the back that goes into the hotel. They've added a lot of like flanking opportunities to this map, which gives it a really nice flow, and objective modes play really well on this, and I'm really digging what they've done with this strike map. I think it's the best strike conversion that they've done so far. Now, Miami Strike will replace the original Miami in the 6v6 playlist, so if you only play 6v6, you're never going to see that nighttime map again. If you do want to play the nighttime Miami, it will be available to play in the combined arms playlist. Let's transition into weapon tuning now, but first, look at the graph on the screen right now. Most of my views come from people who are not subscribed to the channel, unfortunately. So if you are a frequent viewer of my videos and are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We'll alternate between buffs and nerfs, starting with the Krig 6, which is the main weapon I'm using in this gameplay. They fixed the recoil issues with the Krig, which I never understood why it had weird recoil in the first place, because it is a slow killing weapon. It's still a slow killing weapon. They didn't change the damage values or anything. But before this update, it was kind of challenging to use because it had this floaty feeling to it due to its slow recentering time. They've now sped up that recentering time. Originally it was 2.5 joules, whatever it's measured in. Now it is 10 joules, which matches all the other assault rifles. You also notice the Krig's recoil spread is a lot tighter and there's less climb, which makes it easier to use overall. The AK-74u had two big nerfs to it, which I haven't used this in a game yet, but this seems like it's going to be way more challenging to use. First things first is they reduce accuracy over sustained fire. You'll notice on the recoil chart here, looking between that before and after, they added some nasty recoil to the AK. Those initial shots bow a ton, and then there's more spread in between your shots. And then they also reduce its bullet velocity by like 23%. It's gone from 500 meters per second to 333 meters per second. Now, its bullet velocity is still better than the other SMGs, but now compared to other weapon classes in the game, it's pretty lackluster, and this combined with its recoil is going to make the AK way harder to use at that mid to long ranges. 74u users may switch to the KSP-45 because they increased its bullet velocity. It went from 200 meters per second to 265 meters per second, which is good. It's still a bit underwhelming, but they also reduced its burst delay by 20%. As I've said in my worst to best, the KSP-45 was one of the fastest killing weapons in the game, but it was very inconsistent and wonky feeling because I had like recoil issues and the bullet velocity and the burst delay. These improvements do make this thing feel much more snappy and much more consistent. And if you were turned off by it before, definitely go ahead and give it a try. I'm going to be experimenting with it more in the coming days, and it very well could be replacing the 74u. We'll have to wait and see. Or maybe it's going to be the LC-10 that's the 74u replacement. The LC-10 did receive two nerfs. They reduced its max range by 41%, and they reduced its mid-range damage. And what this has done to the LC-10 is it's lost its mid-range finesse. If I remember correctly from my worst to best, the Bullfrog will be outperforming the LC-10 in that mid-range, but it's still going to be the king when it comes to long-range time to kill with the SMGs. And now that the AK-74u is going to be hard to use at range, the LC-10 very well could take its place. Another SMG that got changed was the Milano 821. They definitely shook up the SMG meta with this update. They increase its mid-range damage by 10% and its mid-range distance by 33%. They also increase its sprint to fire speed, its raise speed, and its aim down sight speed. So the Milano is still going to be a slower to kill weapon. Even with those mid-range damage boosts, it's not going to like outgun other SMGs. But now it is definitively a faster handling SMG and easy to use. It's just not going to kill as fast as the others. Several other weapons were changed, although I don't think they're going to be changing up the meta that much. The Stoner 63 got a range nerf, and the Groza got a range increase. But again, this likely isn't something you're going to notice unless you're shooting people at very long ranges. The FAMAS got a bullet velocity increase by 12%. The 1911 got a slight boost to its aim down sight speed. They added a little bit of horizontal recoil to the MAC-10, but again, these are all buffs and nerfs that don't really change how those weapons actually function. And they said the Magnum got some hipfire accuracy reduction, specifically when you're simultaneously firing with the dual wheel attachments, although in my testing, I didn't find any changes with that. They did change the 4.7 takedown barrel, though. It now has a bigger damage boost than the task force barrel, and it does more damage to vehicles at the cost of range and horizontal recoil. Although again, this isn't really going to change how the weapon functions much because it doesn't change the shots to kill unless you're going to be using a Magnum to shoot vehicles. But why would you even do that in the first place? If you're a sniper or going for RPG gold camo, these last two weapon changes here should excite you. For sniper rifles, the glint is no longer visible if you use an iron sight, which gives a reason to use iron sights finally. Thank God. And then the RPG-7, now it will do more damage to hardcore flak jacket users. It should be killing them in 2 shots. They also increased its blast radius, but most importantly, they increased the straight rocket flight path. The rocket will now fly straighter over the entire flight path. There's not as much randomness going on for it, and it flies in a straight exact line for a longer period of time before it starts getting into that whole random pathing thing. So this means it should be easier to shoot infantry and, most importantly, UAVs and other vehicles out of the sky, because that was one of the most annoying and challenging challenges that they had you suffer through in Black Ops Cold War. Looking forward, there's like 3 or 4 more weeks left before Season 3 kicks off, and we should be getting Gunsmith Customs where you can mix and match attachments at a later date, as well as a Gunfight Tournament returning from Modern Warfare, and a brand new sniper rifle that we all will be able to unlock for free. This reminds me, I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video, Mansion, a new face-off map was added, as well as Golova into Fireteam Dirty Bomb, as well as Sanatorium Night, a dirt bike, and a new objective called Secure were all added into Outbreak. 2 questions for you. You can choose to answer both or one or none if you're a party pooper. First one, is there another map you'd like to see get a strike treatment? Cartel is the first one that comes to mind for me. Second question, do you think this weapon tuning is enough, or are there more adjustments you would like to see? I think they addressed most of the SMG and AR issues, although the FFAR is still literally the worst. But LMGs and tactical rifles barely got touched in this, and those are some of the most powerful weapons in Cold War multiplayer right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to help support the channel directly, there's some links down below in the description that you can check out. Peace.